I'm remaking some of Minecraft's most nostalgic maps, because over the last few years people have started to forget about them. But I believe that these maps held some of the game's biggest secrets. So I will be updating them with modern redstone blocks and tools to figure out just why these maps are so popular and see how much better I can make them. The Temple of Notch is one of the greatest maps ever made, known for its complex redstone and the effect it had on millions of players. It was created in 2011 by YouTuber FVDisco, and I believe this guy knew one of the two biggest secrets to making a successful map. The map has 5 aspects that I want to upgrade, namely Notch's face, the redstone, trees, the skill of the map, and the easiest of which, the terrain. In the original, the map was nested in this valley inside a naturally generated world, and because that's pretty old and boring, I'll be using a tool called World Painter. Now, World Painter is pretty simple to use. All you have to do is pretty much just like towel a bunch of these random things together. Press this button, you actually get a nuclear bomb. So all you gotta do is drag, and that's how you make an island.
That didn't explain anything. You just made it seem like you spent a long time explaining how it worked.
Now we have a good base map to use for our builds. My version of the terrain is a little over 3 times taller than the original map, meaning everything else will have to be upscaled too, which in theory sounds pretty easy. I mean, after all, it's not that big of a difference, right? Yeah, that's right, makes perfect sense. Except for the fact that I'm making Notch's head 10 times bigger. Why? I don't know, no clue. But it's really important that I get this right, since it's the main thing you're looking at when you play this map, which is exactly how FVDisco intended it when he made it. Since he understood that in order to make a successful map, you need to be recognizable, and nothing makes it more memorable than a big-ass version of Notch's face with his bald head. So I hopped on the building server and started making a bigger version, which shouldn't take that long, I imagine. Okay, this is gonna take longer than I thought.
Let's get down to business.
No, it looks like the cursed Shrek meme. Okay, I feel like I'm on the right track here, it just needs some fine-tuning. And after spending more time on this than I care to admit, I was done. And now that we have Notch himself done, we can focus on the redstone. In the original map, Notch would open his eyes once you enter the room and close when you trigger an action. So we just have to place a bunch of... Oh, right, that doesn't work. Meaning I had to come up with a flying machine. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the flying machine on the bottom, and I'm gonna make a bunch of these modules that I can just keep stacking so I can make it as tall as I want. I am not competent enough to explain how this works. I just duct tape this entire thing together. And there's a good chance that it's gonna fall apart. We can just stack these flying machines diagonally, since Notch's eyes aren't just a straight line in my version. And now we just need the redstone to wire it up, which is actually pretty simple. We just need to power the top section first and then keep going down, because otherwise the bottom piston will be pushing too many blocks, which will make a break. Oh, that's so cool. Optifine makes it look really glitchy, but this is so cool. With the eyes fully working, I can move on to the different moods that Notch has. In the 2011 version, he could either give you a reward or punish you by dumping you into lava. But since I feel like I've already upgraded the redstone enough, I'll just keep it really simple by either giving you a diamond or make him close his eyes and start crying. But the map is currently looking very boring and plain, so there was a need for some trees. I chose to make some cherry blossom trees instead of the vanilla ones, since we're doing a modern take, and it's a very modern feature with the new 1.20 update. So I made one really big tree, and I rotated it around so you cannot see it's the same tree. No one has to know. I then made a bunch of smaller trees and pasted those around to fill up the empty space and give it some more life. Another big part of the Temple of Notch is the doors that lead up to the valley. But since I already used pistons, I chose to use command blocks and structure blocks for this. And for those who don't know, a structure block allows you to paste pre-made buildings into specific locations, allowing you to make an animation type thing. Oh dang, wait, is that why it's called a structure block? I plan to use this to make a hidden door that opens once you come near the center area. To make it, I use the smoke sensors, which will trigger once you walk near it, opening the door. And with that taken care of, my version of the Temple of Notch was done. The Dropper is probably the best early Minecraft map, having videos being made on it till this day, and for good reasons, because it was, in a way, the first minigame map. It was this map that later inspired people to make servers like Hypixel, which now have millions of active players. Speaking of which, do you mind subscribing so I can reach YouTube rank on Hypixel pretty please? This means that the map's maker, 4RS, must have understood the second crucial step to make it a successful map: the engagement. If your map isn't fun to play, people won't do it. But there's one major problem with this map. it's not tall enough. As most of you probably remember, the Minecraft build limit used to be 256 blocks high, but in 1.18 that changed to 320. So we can make a new version of the dropper that's a little over 360 blocks tall. But that's only the beginning. So now we have a map that's already pretty tall, but we can do a lot better. Actually, we can do infinitely better. You see, there's a certain mod that allows you to up Minecraft's build limit infinitely. So in theory, we can just make a map that goes on forever and ever, costing years to fall down. In fact, I might as well claim a world record title for this since no one has ever made a map this tall. And then I realized it would actually take 12 weeks to go through. The tutorial rules hold a special place in my heart. I remember playing it on my Xbox 360, which is why I was kind of emotional when I saw the Minecraft sign for the first time in years. Anyway, to start my transformation of this map, I made some quick turn in World Painter again. And if you don't know what World Painter... oh, wait, I already made that joke. And then I got started in the towers. I'm making this map roughly 2 times bigger than the original, so I can really showcase the skill of modern builds. I'm using more modern and different blocks in the wall, since it was just cobblestone in the original, which is boring and doesn't give me the monkey neuron activated effect when I look at it. With the tower down, it was time for the walls, for which I used the colors I had already picked for the tower. Then I copied the wall and pasted it around, hoping no one would notice, and did the same for the tower. Now we have the outer shell for the castle, which is very oddly shaped if I'm being honest. Like, this does not look as good as I remember it. Anyway, I quickly slapped down a front wall and also added this porch thing since it was kind of plain and flat looking. Afterwards it was time to make the goofiest wall I've ever seen. Like, seriously, what's this supposed to be? And I somehow managed to make a roof for it. Another feature of this map is the Desert Temple, which sort of looks like the one you'd find in vanilla, except it had a stairwell that led down to a hallway with a chest. So I just made a bigger pyramid with a quick loot room down below. And then to finish it off, I added some big trees around. Revisiting these maps has made me appreciate how far Minecraft has come, and just how many people's childhoods this game has made over the years. And I for one will continue to play this game and upkeep its legendary status, because even though one day, just like millions of others, I will place my last block, another person will place their first.